Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the How Much Do They Make series, a career series here on the Humble Penny, where we bring you all kinds of inspiring careers, whether it's in the traditional sense or non-traditional sense. Today, we've got a cracking one. We've got Poppy, who is an accountant. Hi, Poppy. Welcome to the Humble
Hi,
Penny.
Poppy.
Hi, Bert. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Do you want to give us a background on what you do for a living? For how long have you been doing it and that sort of stuff?
Yes, sure. First of all, I need to say that I wasn't educated in the UK. So I went to university in Thailand, but I think we can talk more about that in a second. But I am now a qualified accountant and been working as a management accountant for the past 5 years. Recently, I secured a role as a financial controller. So that is,
Wow.
Awesome.
thank you.
Congrats. Yes.
Yeah,
Leveling up, right?
it,
Yep, yep, yep.
yeah, it was a good upgrade. Yeah, really. So far so good.
Mhm.
Exciting stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Brilliant. So tell us, Poppy, how did you get into it? Like, give us a bit of a background, your educational background, for example, and talk to us about your school days. How did it all start? What did you study at school, college, and uni?
Yeah, so majority of my study was in Thailand because that's where I'm originally from. But when I was 18, I actually applied for a foreign exchange student to the US.
Okay.
So that kind of, I think, sort of helped open up to see what other opportunities were out there.
Mm.
But I was only there for a year, and then I came back to Thailand to enroll in university. So during university, I attended a very small new university, international university, and they didn't really have that many courses available. So for me, it was a battle between management information system, which at the time, we're talking 2008, 2009, very trendy,
Mhm.
or finance and banking.
Yep.
No, actually, when I enrolled, it was 2005. So yeah, MIS was really trendy, and that was pre subprime crisis. So I thought finance and banking was sort of more difficult option,
Mhm.
and it did sound exciting. So I chose finance and banking. But of course, I did graduate it in 2009, which meant there was no
No
jobs out
chips.
there.
We got made redundant in
In
2009, right?
Oh,
2009.
was it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I mentioned you. Yeah, I remember you mentioned in one of the videos that you got made redundant, and
Yeah.
Oh no. What a time to
I
graduate.
know, right?
yeah, it was a terrible year. And I actually went to I tried to look for a job in the US in Miami actually. Um, I spent I think about 3 months apply for hundreds of jobs every day,
Mhm.
and
Wow.
got absolutely no response. So I thought maybe, yeah, let's just go home. And I went back to Thailand, and again couldn't really find any job in finance. So to be honest, the first 5 years of my career, I was working in like IT in tech, so tech sales,
Okay.
marketing, sort of project coordinating,
Hmm.
lumped into one. It wasn't until I moved to the UK in 20 no t- yeah 2016 or 2017,
Mm.
where I thought I don't really have any degree in tech,
Mhm.
and I do have a degree in finance, so I thought it might be a good thing to sort of start my career afresh,
Mhm.
just rewrite the whole journey. So with that, I did apply for jobs in practice, and I really emphasized to them, my um, that I was really keen to finish ACCA with
Okay.
full-time job in 3 years.
Got
So
it.
that was like a really main selling point.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, because I know getting those training contracts are not easy at all, to train as an accountant and that sort of stuff. Particularly if you've been in other countries, it's not that easy to actually get in. So well done for actually making that
Yeah.
progress. Do you want to speak to us of what does a day in the life of someone in your job does? Like, what do you actually do from when you wake up, and you log on to your computer, like all the way to when you shut down? What actually happens? Give us like a brief summary of that.
Yeah, sure. So I think, when we talk about what do accountants do, I think people have this perception that oh my God, your job is so boring. It must be so boring. There's nothing exciting going on. But, I think it's not necessarily true. I mean, at the beginning of the career, it might be a bit, there's a repetitive task. But I
Yes.
think as you progress into a more senior level, so my day now looks pretty much different every day.
Mm,
On a day-to-day basis, normally catching up with other teams to see if there's any update, anything that finance needs to do,
mm,
because as you know, business constantly faces challenges and
mm.
problems that needs to be solved.
Yeah.
And yeah, and in a senior level, I think a lot of time that I do have
Mhm.
also need to be contributing to mentoring the teams and
Yes.
helping them progress, and helping them solving their own struggle and problems. So yeah, I think that's sort of like a summary of the day in general. So they don't particularly look the same every single day.
Cool.
So, what would you say makes you a success, or what are the top three things or habits that make you a success at what you do today?
I One of the main habits that I think I kind of promote to other people as well is to sort of keep learning. I think ACCA gives us a very solid background
Yeah.
of your technical knowledge,
Hmm.
but as in anything, every year there's new tax rules, there's
Hmm. Things change.
changes, yeah, all the time. So sort of keep up to date with that, and that's something that I always want to do, which is keep learning,
Hmm.
and not just like, oh yeah, done and dusted and move on. And second thing would be, I think interpersonal skills. As accountants, I think it's so easy for us to sometimes just so into the numbers and forget about people.
Hmm.
But I think we forget sometimes to think that we're actually getting the numbers or the accuracy from the people themselves. So, having building that good, strong relationship with them,
Relationships, right?
yeah, is really important.
Mhm.
And being commercially aware, I mean, it's kind of related to the first point, but um, yeah, if you pick up things that just don't the numbers, if it doesn't make sense, the number speaks a lot, and if it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, maybe it really doesn't, like something is going on there. So yeah, I think those are the key things, the three main bits.
Three habits. Cool.
Awesome.
What would you say you love about what you do as an accountant? So you're a financial controller right now.
Mm.
That's a role of responsibility. You
Mm.
likely have direct reports. So what do you actually love about what you do?
Yeah, I think to answer that question, I wanted to go back to the beginning of learning about accounting, and I think what I really enjoyed about it was that is unambiguous, if I pronounce that
Okay.
correctly.
Hmm.
It's just there's something so constant about it. It sounds very strange, but in many careers, like in sales, for example, you kind of know if you say certain things, you might get people to buy.
Yeah.
But in accounting, if a transaction happens, almost 100% of what to do or how to record it, if
Yeah.
the impact is pretty clear. So
Yes.
I think that's what I loved about it at the beginning, but of course too much of it is not very exciting.
Mm.
And as I progress into a more senior role, you have the people side of things, the strategy side of things, the
Hmm.
problem solving side of things, which makes the whole accounting career, I think, a very nice balance of
Mm.
the stuff that for fact what to do,
Mhm.
and the uncertainty bit.
And just to add to that, I guess from my experience as an accountant, I'm still a qualified chartered accountant,
Mhm.
even though I create on YouTube and what have you. Just add a good way someone helped me to remember what you just said is that in the early stages of your career, it's technical learning,
Yes.
and those are your core strengths, and then later in life or in your career journey, it's more about the softer skills, about communicating and those things.
Yeah,
So yeah,
100%.
yeah.
So, what would you say are the challenging aspects of what you do as a financial controller, as an accountant?
There's one unique challenge that I feel that is very specific to accountants, or someone who works as a finance controller, or even FD, which is that accounting or finance as a department, we
Mm.
are supporting department. So in any business decisions, new deals, or new strategy, sometimes a new product launch, sometimes finance don't get involved. No one thinks about us first.
Yes. It's like, oh yeah, finance. We need to tell them about what's happening
Yeah,
later on.
yeah, when everything is agreed and signed.
Everything, all the actions happen. You're like, yeah, thanks.
And I think that's just the main challenge, because all of a sudden you get this like blurb. You
Yeah,
Yeah, here that it is, you
yeah.
work out. And yeah, sometimes it can be very challenging, I would say.
Mm,
And some of the things, like what I've noticed as well, like sometimes they would agree some things that makes 100% sense on business side, but like for the back end side, for the support side, it
mm,
takes so much time. And
yeah.
it's finding that balance is can be
So there's
difficult.
communication, and then there's often a disconnect, I guess, between
Yes.
the people in the front office, the people in more maybe sales parts of the business and so on, compared to the people at the back office who are
Mm.
much more support focused and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears. Let's talk money. It's a personal finance channel,
Oh, I
right?
love it.
And
Yeah.
everyone's here to talk about money. Like, how much money do you make as a financial controller? How much do you make on a monthly basis, and from what sort of sources do you make that income from?
So I recently, the move for me was to move out of public large company to a smaller company,
Hmm.
just because I was looking for that work-life balance and
Yes. Mm.
kind of thing. So I didn't take a pay cut, but at the moment with my current role, I
Mhm.
am earning 62,000 fixed base. I think bonus is 5 to 10%, depend,
Right.
but because I haven't been with the company for long enough to sort of know.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's sort of my main um, salary income.
Compensation.
Yeah.
And do you get with that what sort of pension, and are there other things that come with that, healthcare and so on, that also come with that package?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, there is a healthcare, yeah, health insurance with Bupa, and I think that is so the pension is 3%, which I did sort of point out,
Mm.
and they said they probably increase it to they're looking into increase it to 5%.
Mm.
30-day holidays. I
Mm.
mean, I think
Nice.
that's pretty
30-day
good.
holidays. 30-day, that's 30 working days with holiday.
Yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
whole month. You've got a whole month off in a year. You're basically working 11 months a year,
Yeah.
plus,
Yeah.
and then bank holiday.
yes.
Yeah.
So you're probably working 10 and a half months in a year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
62K
Mm,
plus pension plus
Benefits.
benefits
yeah.
plus bonus.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
It's not bad.
that
It's
is
actually
a
very
good
good.
package.
So, what would you say is the maximum income potential for somebody who is either a financial controller or somebody in finance?
I would say it really depends on, the size of the company. This is what
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
noticed. With sort of small company, startup, tech, not backed by any big organization, I would say probably maximum 68, maybe, or 65,
Mhm.
65, 68K for finance controller. But if you're going for the, high growth,
Mhm.
feedback,
Venture backed. Hmm.
yeah, then you're probably looking maybe 80, or even more, depending how stressed the job will be. Yeah.
Do you know what? The point you make, and let's not gloss over it, it's very
Yeah.
important about the amount of stress you
Yeah.
potentially get for that higher income
Hmm.
in a
Mm.
much high growth, venture backed or public listed company versus you taking on more responsibility in a smaller business,
Mm.
but you can work your 9 to 5 and like you can
Yeah.
switch off and just go home. I mean, do you want to speak to that? Was that part of your motivation? Because you said you made this move from a public, almost public listed type company to a smaller business. Was this your core motivation to have a much more predictability around your working hours, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. So I think what changed me was a book called Your Money or Your Life.
Ooh, love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she made a really good point about this, like value of your time, and
Mhm.
I kind of had this realization at the beginning of this year where obviously it was year end, and
Mhm.
I just for the whole month I just sat there for like 12 to 15 hours doing
Wow.
work. And I was thinking, well, is this really worth it?
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
think
Like,
a good way to look at your future is to look at someone who's above you, your managers. Like look at how much they work and kind of figure out how much they earn and
Mhm.
work out how much they actually get paid per hour.
Mhm.
And when I did that, I just thought that it's just not worth it.
Mm. Wow. That is so powerful what you just said then. By the way,
exactly.
if you haven't read that book, you should go and read that book.
Highly recommend it.
Talks a lot about the concept of your life's energy,
Mm.
and what that means, and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely recommend it. It's a book about financial independence. Definitely worth reading. Um, do you have any plans of increasing your income? And if so, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, yeah, I do. So since I moved to the UK, so 5 years ago now, I always had in my mind that I would. I am not sure where I heard this from actually, but he said, everyone's goal should be, or like, at least something to aim for,
Mm.
is to double your income every 3 years. And
Yes.
yeah, I just had that in my mind that this is going to be me. I'm going to do
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, I started off. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I started off. My first job in accounting, I got paid £14,000
Right.
a year, untrained. Just literally just my first UK job,
What
and then
year was that? What year was that, out of interest?
so 2017.
2017. So in 5 years,
Yeah,
you've gone from 14K
yeah,
to 62K
yeah,
in
yeah.
5 years.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow. Okay.
That is
Wow.
amazing.
Okay. Carry on. Sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to just clarify that. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. So yeah, and I think, doing ACCA, being making sure that I was qualified as soon as possible really helped. But
Mm,
I knew that once you qualify, there is a certain pay grade that you're
yeah.
going to get.
Minimum.
And
Yeah.
that was one of the best things that I've ever done. And yeah, so my next goal would be again to double
Yeah.
this 60K in 3 years. So
Love
Woohoo!
it.
it'll be interesting.
I love the ambition. I love the
Exactly.
ambition. I know it's possible. I know it's possible,
Yeah, I've
right?
seen it.
I'm
Because
sure.
like I know it's possible. So like, because you're on that pathway.
Yeah.
Um,
So, what top three pieces of advice would you give to somebody who's watching this video and they're saying, I want to also be a financial controller and earn as much as you are, Poppy, and potentially more in the future? What's the top three pieces of advice? Top three pieces of advice.
Yeah. I would say, to first like have really good um vision of where you really want to be, because I think sometimes we romanticize other people's jobs or title. So I
mhm,
think before even thinking about, I want to get there, just be sure if that's what you really want, because
mhm,
any careers or any jobs always come with, a certain parts that's not very pretty.
mhm,
So yeah, so that would be the first advice. Second would be, once you know where you, if you know for sure that this is what you want, then identify the gap
mhm,
of where you are now and where you essentially want to be,
mhm.
and creating like a plan really. And I I think the third piece of advice would be that I feel like nothing in life comes easy, and if you need to bear in mind that things might not happen like in days or months, but
Mhm,
if you keep going at it,
mhm.
you can make anything happen. Really, I do really believe that.
Awesome. So
Mm.
we've just all these questions we've asked are about your career. Let's shift gears and talk now about personal finance. Okay. How would you describe your current relationship with money? This is in your own personal life. How would
Yeah,
you describe that?
yeah. Yeah, I like that you say your personal because I feel like personal finance, sometimes people forget that it's so
Yeah.
personal. So there's always going to be different views, but it is a really good question because I think growing up uh, in a country, I think that's considered still, I mean, Thailand has been a developing country ever since I was born. Uh,
Mm,
you know, my view, I feel like because how I grew up, I had unhealthy relationship with money,
mm,
where I saw money as something that's very difficult to attain,
mm,
something that you really need to, you know, seeing from people around me, you really need to work um, your bottom off to get anywhere in life. And I think that's kind of unhealthy to look
mm,
at money that way. But I think it's my view on money and my relationship with money has become much healthier now due to, you know, learning about personal finance and
mm.
sort of my shifting the mindset of how I see money and manage money. Mm.
I love that. Do you have a side hustle at all? And if so, are you making any money from it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I do have a small YouTube channel, and
Okay.
Awesome.
yeah, I do make a little bit of money on it. It's not a lot, to be honest, because it's still quite small.
Mm,
We are also, me and husband, we're renting out our spare bedroom
hmm.
for short-term let. So
Okay.
that's another, depending on the months, maximum £1,000 a month, and that's split between us.
Hmm.
And I do also offer one-on-one talks if because my channel is about coming to the UK, you know, adjusting, finding jobs. So if anyone wants sort of that personal talk and see what they can do and what I can help with, then there's one-on-one session as well. So yeah, bits and bobs going on the side.
Can
Love
we ask
that.
what's the name of your channel so we can put up maybe a screenshot of it so people can check
Check
it
you
out?
out.
Yeah, it's Poppy Dontree. So it's Poppy Dontree across all the
All the
social media.
socials. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome. Um, what do you think? So you talked a bit about your upbringing. Can you tell us a bit more about what you think you learned about money from your parents growing up? So whether it's good or bad, just give us a bit of a flavor.
Yeah, yeah, I think I can, yeah, there's both, mix of both really. So just a bit of context. So my mum had a very successful corporate career.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, she was really good at what she did, and you know, climb up from someone who like from bottom to top basically.
Wow.
And my dad, on the contrary, he's an artist, or still is an artist. So he's been a songwriter all his life, and
Interesting.
he never really made you know, I don't really remember him making like a stable income. So
Right.
growing up, I had this, you know, two people that I saw, and obviously naturally I was going to look up to my mom
Mm,
because she was a breadwinner, and but she worked incredibly hard. You know, she would work weekends and she would leave
mm.
home at 6, coming back home at 9 in the evening,
Wow.
sometimes
Wow.
10. So, and I think from that, from what I saw, I sort of, you know, it made me think that money is really, you know, to even afford food on the table or to even get a bit more money, it
Mm,
has to come from this level of effort to
mm,
to get anywhere in life, or to get any money at all. So that, I think that's the unhealthy or like a bad, you know, money sort of point of view that I
mm,
get from my mom.
mm,
Um, but my dad actually gave me a really good money lesson one day. I think because he wasn't doing well in his career, and there was a uh, some point in time where I think he was really struggle with money. So he was in credit card debts.
mm,
I think it was a lot of it, to be honest. And I remember this quite vividly. I was lying down in bed one day, and I think he was quite stressed with the bills, and he came and sat next to me, and he said, "Oh, you know, credit cards are the mother of all evil. Like
Wow.
don't ever get one. And I was so young then, I didn't really understood what credit cards were and the
Mm,
mechanism of it. But I knew then that I were to never touch it. And I never did. I never did touch, I never had any credit cards until,
interesting.
yeah, until I moved to the UK. I needed one to build my credit score.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I never really had one. It's just something that always stuck with me to never ever touch. So I think that was a good lesson.
Mm,
I love
wow.
that. Even though your dad might not have had a good experience with it, you learned from his mistakes, basically,
Yeah.
which is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm.
So, what do you currently spend most of your money on per month, and what do you spend your money on to treat yourself?
So, funny enough, I'm on a low buy 6 month
Okay.
journey, by the way. But no, obviously housing is my biggest expense, around 30%.
Hmm.
I think that's pretty normal, and I try to save or invest 30 up to 40, sometimes 50,
Wow.
if I
Sometimes
can.
50. Wow.
Yeah, but that's also including pension.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because my pension is normally 10% already anyway, so
Hmm.
I think that's quite healthy. But I do love spending money on experiences. I love food. I love seeing new things, seeing new places. And taking advantage of living in Europe. It's kind of easy to go around places. So I think that's where I spend a lot of money on. And I'm not big on buying brand name clothes. So those are the things that I don't spend much on at all. And I treat myself. I think like once a month, getting my nails done. So.
That's lovely. Can you think of, again, going back a little bit to your kind of upbringing, perhaps in your teenage years or early 20s? I don't know how old you are, but can you think about any specific money mistakes you've made on your money journey so far and what you think you learned from it?
Yeah, so I would say my biggest one was probably when I bought my first car.
Mm,
Um, and I think the lesson is simple. Do not get yourself into a huge debt unless you know exactly what you're paying.
mm,
It was a very old used car, but I bought it on a loan, and I think it took me like 10 years to pay it off or something. It was
Wow.
it was just ridiculous. I didn't know what I was
years.
doing at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still running, by the way. Is the
Oh
car
wow.
it
Okay.
the car is 25 years old, but it's still running.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
Still running after so
Astonishing.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your ultimate financial goal, Poppy?
This is the dream. Come on,
The dream.
cast your gaze into the future. What do you see, Poppy?
Wow. By the beach, sipping pina coladas. Joking. So I think, yeah, ultimately, my financial goal does really tie in with, the lifestyle.
Mm,
So I just, I want to be able to live comfortably and still being in my golden years, still being able to sort of, experience new things,
mm,
have like nice experiences in life. So ultimately, I think in the next 15 years, I would like to still perhaps work for with a company,
mm,
but maybe perhaps on a part-time basis and have something going on the side. And I
mm,
think that kind of give me sort of both stable income plus the fulfillment that you get from doing
mm,
your own gig.
mm,
So yeah, I think that in the next 15 years, that's the goal. But the ultimate retirement goal, I did calculate this with my husband the other day, and I think, to live the lifestyle that we really want to live,
mhm.
I think we probably need to have 1.5 million saved
Okay.
up as
Okay.
like our pot, which
Yeah.
sounds a lot now, but I think
Yeah.
but I do talk about this with people, because it sounds a lot now, but
Yeah.
that's why you need to start now
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
order to get there. So
So
yeah.
it's funny. I wanted to expand on that because I wrote a piece yesterday on retirement for millennials and
Mm.
Gen Zs, and how, I don't know if you know this, but in like March, obviously March 2020, we had the pandemic, but the Financial Times reported, and we're going to make a video about it separately, but Financial Times reported that 250,000 more 50 to 64-year-olds decided to retire earlier
Mm.
when the pandemic hit, right? They tasted some freedom and they were like, you know what? I just want like this life. I want this. I'm about this life. This is what I want, right? And
Yeah.
they retired early, right? However, with the cost of living crisis, with rising inflation and all these things, quite a lot of people have unretired, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And have had to come back into work because they need, their portfolios have dipped and, all
Mm.
these things.
Mm.
And so it got me really thinking, as what inspired the piece was like, what does this mean for millennials and
Mm.
for the Gen Z? What does it mean for even Gen X? There's people in their 40s to 50s. What does it mean for us,
Yeah.
for all of us? Does it mean that we are grossly underprepared for retirement, which is the reality, by the way? A lot of people are
Yeah.
not saving enough. So that topic is top of our minds generally at the moment as we continue to think about it for the people around us, for our communities. How do we inspire more people to save more money? So the question I've got for you on the back of all this is how is it you're able to save sometimes 50% of your net income? What makes you different to the people who say, I I can barely save 10%? Like, what are you doing that's different? Do you
Yeah.
mind just sharing a bit on that?
Yeah, I think when people I feel personally that when people talk about saving, they only focus on expenses side, right? So
Mm,
if you only focus on like trying to spend as least as possible, that's
mhm.
the maximum that you are going to be able to save.
Yep.
However, if you look at the other side of the equation, the whole general idea is to create a bigger gap. So
Mm,
if you look at, increasing or finding money or
mm.
whatever, make
Make it
money
more.
yeah, make it comes to you more, you will be able to save more.
Mm,
And this is the truth, but
mm,
it's not, it's difficult, I think, and that's why people don't want to really admit it, because in order to earn more money, you are going to need to do things that are extremely uncomfortable.
yeah.
You need to put a lot of effort, a lot of time, learn new skills, and some people don't have time, and I do get that. So it is a difficult task in itself, but
Mm,
but I do think that had I not had a goal of doubling my income every 3 years or so,
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to save 50%,
Mm,
really. And to be very practical, I live just a little bit, I live in Greater London, I would say. And we always try to make sure that our housing costs in total doesn't exceed 30%.
30%. Wow.
Yeah, because if it does, I mean, I think last year we were at about 28. Uh,
Right.
Obviously,
How's so
yeah,
just to make sure we understand, are you
yeah.
renting or do you have a mortgage?
We have a mortgage, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you say total housing costs, you mean your mortgage costs or do you mean other things as well? You just
Other things as well, like
oh
bills,
wow.
and yeah. We were paying more rent
Yeah.
Hmm.
than the mortgage.
Right.
But obviously now with the interest rates that's just been
Right. Yeah.
rising, I
Yeah.
think it's now going to push us to, the 30% mark,
Mm,
um, which is hence why we doing short-term let, so
mm,
that, okay, our expenses got a bit more. Now
mm.
we need to find a bit more so that
More
we can
income.
still,
Yeah.
yeah, so that we can still save. So is that game.
Yeah.
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 Poppy, thank you so much. This has been awesome. You've been brilliant. Thank you for sharing your
Absolutely.
experience and your journey,
Hmm.
towards being a financial controller and your aspirations for the future as well.
Hmm.
How can people get in contact with you if they want to hear more about you? You said you're on YouTube. Have you got an Instagram?
Yeah, so
LinkedIn.
YouTube,
Account?
Instagram, no TikTok yet, but let's see. But yeah, those two platforms I'm really active. So
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, look, we need to reach out to you if we're going to go to Thailand on holidays. It's the one place we've not, well, among many other places we've not been to,
That we'd love to go
but
to.
we'd love
Yeah,
to.
do let me know. I can give you a full list of where to go and what to do.
That'd be awesome.
Thank
Guys,
you so
if you,
much.
well,
That's
awesome. No, this has been amazing, Poppy. No, honestly. Guys, if you really enjoyed today's interview, we've made many others across different careers, whether it's in banking, whether it's you want to become a YouTuber, an engineer, a doctor, a surgeon. We've made many other similar interviews here on The Humble Penny. We're going to link to some of those below, as well as above, for you to go and binge on that playlist. If you enjoyed today's video, come on, hit the subscribe button, show some love for the work that goes into Humble Penny. Okay. Apart from that, Pippa, we absolutely thank you for today.
Thank you.
Guys, feel free to jump in the comments if you've got any questions for Poppy, rather, not Pippa. If you've got any questions for Poppy about how to get into this career of being an accountant, how to get to the level where she's at as a financial controller, again, jump in the comments and we'll get some answers for you guys. Yeah.
Yes, thank you guys for watching. And as ever, in
All things, be thankful and seek joy.
Take care,
Take care,
guys.
people.
Bye.
Bye.